Well, your reaction to the announcement they finally made yesterday about the outdoor?
Well, it's been a long time coming, frankly, but we're extremely excited and we're pleased that the National Hockey League, enabled us to do this. Is something that's been talked about ever since they put in the field turf in the stadium about the potential of playing outdoors, and I know that Jack Swarbrick has always said that that's something that we wanted to try to achieve. And with the Winter Classic being at the stadium, it's only natural that that we get a chance to play in the stadium. It's probably going to be a once in a lifetime type of thing. Certainly the first and maybe the last. Who knows? But it'll be a great experience for our guys. I hope that despite the lateness of the announcement, there's still 3 months before we play in that game. So I'm hoping that all the Notre Dame alumni, football fans, everybody gets involved, comes tailgates, and makes it a great experience. So the biggest thing for me is going to be, Michigan's already pumping it out there as far as trying to get as many Michigan fans in the stadium, and I don't want to have more Michigan fans than Notre Dame fans in our own building. So we need to get people out.
Do you know any particulars about where the teams would be dressing and stuff like that?
That stuff is it's beyond my pay grade, so I don't know where we're going. I'm sure we'll be coming out of one tunnel or another. Maybe we'll be in the Notre Dame football locker room. Who knows?
Yeah. How the kids react when they heard?
Well, our guys have known about it for a while. Because we've known about it for a while. So, I told them it couldn't be public yet, but they've known for a while. I think they're all thrilled about it. It's always a unique experience playing outdoors. Just brings us back to the roots of the game. Because all of us played the game outside when we were kids. So, but these games will count for points. So there'll be serious games, but it's still the environment. When we played at Soldier Field, I thought it was a great experience. We had a great sunny day, and we had about 65,000 people at that game. So it was a great experience, great environment. We played at Fenway Park. It wasn't quite as good just because of the weather and ice conditions kind of impacted the game a little bit too much. They had a nor'easter that week. So, but, let's just hope that it's good weather. You never know what to expect. And the same thing will apply to the Winter Classic. So hopefully we have a nice, cool day, sunny. And, we got the Wolverines coming in, so let's take it outdoors.
Talk a little bit about this weekend coming up with Boston, or with Ohio State.
Well, it's not much. It's a conference series, obviously, but it's not going to be much different than the Duluth series. You're talking about a team that was picked to be first in the conference. They certainly deserve that based on the returning team that they have. It's very close to the exact team they had when we played them here last year for the championship. So they're an experienced team. They got a lot of talent, and at this point, and I've said it's a work in progress, but it's all about us right now. It's about us getting better in certain parts of our game. I talked to our guys today about the importance of us, improving on specific aspects of our game that we have to focus on, over the next couple months. It's not gonna just change overnight. It takes time to develop specific fundamental skills. We need to get better with our defensive sticks, which was one of our fortes last year. We need to do a better job of protecting the puck and being strong over the puck and making strong plays with the puck. But we need to focus on these things and continue to just pound them in our guys' heads. And one of the crazy things that for me is that it's like every year, even though you have returning guys, it's like you almost start over again, and it's like retraining them. They go away for 4 months in the off season and they play summer hockey and call it shinny, and it's all fun and stuff, but you get away from all those details that you learn throughout the year, and it's like relearning to ride the bike at some points.
Are you still adjusting or tweaking lineups and things like that? How long will you do, or is this something you continually do during the year?
Every year is different. Like last year, we solidified our lines right about now. And we stayed with them pretty much for the rest of the season. Now, sometimes injuries and performance can impact that. You know, if a guy plays poorly, you know, drop him down in the lineup or take him out of the lineup. But right now, I mean, we're still trying to, you know, incorporate the freshmen have been on a line together, but I'm not sure that that'll continue because they all have different assets. And, you know, we may need to, you know, boost up other guys. That's always how it goes. One line is doing really well, and then you have to break them up, you know, because other lines are not. So, and same thing with defensive pairs. We still got some guys that, you know, are fighting it a little bit right now, mostly returning guys and mostly upperclassmen. You know, I'd like to see some growth over the next little while here to get more confidence. You know, confidence is such a tricky thing, and you know, it comes and goes for crazy reasons, and like I have no control over it, but you just have to allow them to, you know, continue to try to work themselves out of it. And I think in time, I say some guys will start getting their game back and you know, and start showing what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, because you said last Saturday night you talked about how you were actually pleased somewhat with the way the freshmen played. It was the upperclassmen who were a little shaky.
Well, it's yeah. We had a couple sophomores that have started a little slow. You know, we certainly have one or two juniors that, you know, haven't really got going yet, and even, you know, I would say we probably have a senior that probably still needs to, you know, to get going a little bit more. So, I mean, it ranges. You know, some guys start slow and they progressively get better. And some guys start fast and they maintain it. It's just, you know, again, it boils down to confidence. And once they start getting a little confidence, all of a sudden they find their game again. So it's us to try to just, you know, it's our job just to try to, you know, ensure that they're working on, you know, doing the right things to get their confidence back.
Last thing for me, now you're back in the Big Ten play. There's an added thing now that you have to work on is the possibility, if you get an overtime, a second overtime, which is 3-on-3. How much time have you had to work on that?
We haven't. We do a couple of drills specifically that play into playing 3-on-3. Mostly we call angling drills. You know, just to work on gap control and the wedge. We haven't really got into the offensive part of it. We did a little bit yesterday as a Monday workout. Usually we do skills, but we did, you know, our conditioning test, and then we did some 3-on-3 hockey after that. But I mean, there's some strategy involved in it, and you know, I spoke to a couple NHL coaches, and then Andy Slaggert reached out to a few guys. You know, like, you know, we've talked to Tampa Bay, we've talked to Detroit, we've talked to, you know, people that we know, and in the NHL, just to get their insights, because I'm sure that, you know, it took them a couple of years to really figure out, okay, how can we take advantage of it? You know, how can we, you know, we don't want to overcoach them in that situation. It is about speed and creativity, but you also have to have some strategy involved. And, you know, we discussed that strategy yesterday with the guys before we skated 3-on-3 for the first time.
Actually, that wasn't my last question. My last question, what do you think of the 3-on-3?
I have been talking for years now that we should emulate the NHL exactly. In other words, I don't like the idea of playing 3-on-3 after 5-on-5. If we did what the NHL does, I would be in favor of it, and then the shootout. But the one thing, and I totally agree with this argument, like once we stop playing 5-on-5, the RPI should stop, because now we're playing gimmick hockey to determine who gets into the NCAA tournament. So I think each conference should go to 3-on-3s directly after 5-on-5, and the RPI should stop at the end of 5-on-5, and then everything after that is based on conference points. So it still has a lot of meaning to it, but it doesn't impact the RPI, because I don't want that determining who makes the NCAA tournament.
Coach, how does your squad match up with Ohio State this year after so many close matches a year ago, including that overtime game in the conference championship?
Well, as I said, I mean, they have pretty much their whole team coming back. I mean, they may, you know, initially they may have a little bit more depth than we do offensively. You know, I know, you know, both goaltenders are extremely good. You know, their defensive core is a little bit more experienced than ours, but you know, it's going to be about, you know, again, it's going to be about us and what we need to do to be successful against any really good team. Until we clean that up, we're gonna struggle against good teams until we clean up the parts of the game that we need to clean up. And maybe that'll happen. They surprised me in how they played against Providence. The second game of the season after playing high risk hockey the night before, and hopefully we come back. There's a lot of factors that I wonder about the Duluth weekend. First of all, they're an extremely fast and they're a really good hockey team, and they're experienced. They returned a lot of guys. So, I thought that they broke us down because of their speed and because of their pressure. I mean, they pressure the puck as well as any team in the country. We'll see more of that against Ohio State this weekend. We just have to keep working on things to break that pressure, and so we can actually make plays and score goals. And that'll be the challenge, and we'll see, how much better we are Friday night than we were last Saturday. We were better Saturday than we were Friday, but now we have to take another step. And if we take another step, then we can probably beat anybody.
You now have a year of Big Ten play under your belt. What is the mentality, and how does it change going into year 2?
Well, we probably still have a target on our back, probably even a bigger one since we won the league last year. But, I think that the conference in a whole, you look at Michigan State knocking off Cornell twice last weekend. I don't think there's a weak link in our conference. I think that we're going to beat each other up for the next 3 months. There's a lot of good teams in the Big Ten. And anybody potentially could win the league, and anybody could finish in last place, and it may be, maybe a differential of, a half a dozen points by the end of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how the conference goes now that we're starting conference play. But, I think Minnesota's going to be much improved. Wisconsin's young but improved. Michigan State's improved. Penn State's, they're an experienced team. They're almost like Ohio State. And Minnesota is to some degree, too. They had a little bit of an off year last year, if you can call it that, for them. But I think everybody in the conference, and Michigan is going to be a high tempo team, explosive team. So, I couldn't predict what's going to happen over the next 3 months in the Big Ten. I think it's going to be extremely interesting.
Last question for me. The power play was 0 for 6 on Saturday. What's being done to address the inefficiencies in that part of the game?
Well, again, I think that's that's something that our guys have got to be able to make adjustments based on the pressure that the opposing team is applying. We did score one on Friday, but Saturday night, especially having a 5-on-3, is extremely disappointing. And I think at that time, I think it was in our mind. I think Duluth was in our mind a little bit with the pressure that they applied. And, I think that we didn't fight through it. And that's something that, again, that we have to get better at is, just because we didn't score on the first 3, we can still go 1 for 4. We have to have that mindset. And it starts in practice. Like, we'll be in practice, we'll get 2 or 3 shifts on the power play, we won't score. And I'm on the bench with the power play generally. Coach Pooley oversees it, but, I'm always reminding him, hey, listen, the next power play is just as important as the first 3. So we got to get in that mindset where we can go out and not automatically be frustrated before we get on the ice just because of the previous power plays.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure, thank you.
You're going up against Ohio State. And, what do you remember from last year? How excited is the locker room about getting going in defense of the championship?
They're a good team, really fast-paced. They got a lot of guys returning. I know we're excited to get into Big Ten play and start off against a really good opponent.
Your thoughts on the game outdoors?
I think a lot of the guys are really excited. I know it's going to be an unreal experience. I know they have the Winter Classic out there too, so I think 2 good games, especially going up against an opponent like Michigan, a big rivalry, will be really fun.
What do you think you guys learned from last week against Minnesota Duluth?
I think we took a lot out of it. I know they're a good team. They have a lot of returning guys from last year, and they were a great team last year. And I think we learned a lot. I think made a lot of improvements, and hopefully we'll use them in the upcoming week.
How about the play of the freshmen so far?
I think they've done well. They're adapting. Obviously, it's going to take some time, but I think they've done a really good job so far.
What's the team's mentality heading into conference play as the reigning champions?
I think we're really excited about it. Big Ten's second to none in college hockey, and I think going into it, there's a lot of good teams, so we're really excited to be able to play a lot of high-tempo opponents.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.